sort of a two-parter here. Is Igor starting tonight? And then just to follow up on him, do you guys feel like you need to be careful coming off of his injury? Or there's certain situations maybe you'd like to avoid, like back-to-backs? Or how much do you feel like you can lean on him, given what he was dealing with Brian?
Yeah, he's going to play tonight, and I think he proved during those games that he played, the 2 games he played when he came back, he certainly looked healthy. So I think he's in a great place mentally. I think he feels really good about where he is physically. I don't think he's concerned about any opportunity where he might re-injure himself. So he's in a good spot mentally, and he'll play tonight.
Yeah, just to follow up on that, Dave. You don't have any back-to-backs this week until I think late next week. So I mean, are we set up here for Igor to get a bunch of games in a row and go on a little bit of a run for the first time?
I mean, it's certainly an opportunity there for him to do that. That being said, we do have faith in our other goalies, and to me, it's going to be game by game, see how things go. But he certainly is in a position where he might be able to do that. Yeah.
Hey, David. You touched on it a little bit Sunday, getting a different perspective during your time away from the team. I'm curious if you could elaborate on some of the things you noticed you'd like to adjust, either in your own coaching style or decision-making that you noticed while watching the team from home.
Yeah, well, some of those things I had recognized actually before I got COVID. It was something that we addressed as a team actually after the first Bruins game loss in Boston. One of the things we talked about was some of the things that we have to do better as a group, and we were including everybody, not just the players, but the coaches. And we really felt good, obviously, about that game in Boston. We felt good about the first Flyer game, even though we lost in overtime. After a rusty first period, I thought we played really well after that. Getting the news we weren't going to have Fox and Buchnevich before that game, I thought our guys responded well. And, just some of the things that we talked about I'd rather keep internally, but things that what it really did more than anything is just confirm the things that I knew that I needed to do better, and that we needed to do better as a staff.
Adam Fox is starting to get some more national attention. It could just be because he's putting up more points. I don't know. Do you think it's just he's getting some more national attention because the assists he's getting and the production, or has his game developed into another level in the last 2, 3, 4 weeks?
I think it's gone to another level all year. I don't think it's just been the last month, but he's getting rewarded statistically, and I think everybody's been playing a little bit better. Our top players have all played better over the last 3 weeks. That's why we're scoring more. He certainly benefits from that, but I thought he was playing great hockey right from the get-go this year. People talk about somebody having a sophomore slump. I thought he elevated his game from last year right from the get-go this year, and I think people are always curious whether a rookie can back up what they did their first year, and he certainly not only backed it up, but he brought it to another level, and I'm not surprised he's getting the accolades and the attention he's getting.
David, just based on what we saw at the skate this morning, it looks like you're keeping that kid line together. They haven't been very productive lately. We talked about Alexei the other day, but is there thought to mixing them in with veterans to take some of the pressure off? Or is that something that you feel like you don't want to do because it might mess with what's going on in the top 6 right now?
Yeah, I think we have thought about it. We've talked about it. Obviously, they get the goal late. I thought they got better as the game went on the other night. I thought they got off to a little bit of a slow start, but watching the game, I thought that again, and I felt it during the game. I thought they got better as the game went on. They had a great shift at the end of the second period, drew a penalty, had some good shifts in the third. So, again, when you've got a young line, you're going to have to be patient and allow them to grow. And depending on the game situation, there may be some changes to some of those lines to, like you alluded to, give it a little bit more of a veteran presence on that line and mix the lines up a little bit.
Yeah, I guess this is a form of a question that you've been asked repeatedly for at least 2 years. But question Paul about playing a guy like Blackwell or Rooney,
Yeah.
older guys, role-playing guys that are maybe taking time away from some of the younger guys,
Right.
on a game-by-game basis.
Right.
What's the universe in which you're making these decisions? Are you looking at the game to win the game, or are you looking at the game as a way to get younger guys more experience? So I recognize it's not a simple answer,
Right,
but
right, yeah.
it's something that I see every game.
Yeah, it's a good question, Larry, and it's something we talk about a lot. And, we want to win. I know we've got great young players, and you want to continue to let them develop. And, you've touched on it. Everybody touches on how hard it is to develop in the National Hockey League. And, there's only 60 minutes in a game. And ideally, you'd like to let them play 15 minutes a night. I know I've said this a little bit before. I know Chris mentioned it a couple of times. I looked at the minutes the other day, and I was a little pissed at myself for not playing those guys a little bit more. So, there's so many factors that go into these decisions, because you also want to play people that are playing well. And because, again, you got a team to coach, and you got a locker room to answer to as well. So it's a balancing act. And, these kids have handled it well. To me, I think that the minutes played are going to go from game to game. It's not a straight trajectory line the way players develop. Sometimes they do have to learn hard lessons and not always get everything that they want. But again, you can't take away their confidence. So, there's so many factors that go into these decisions, Larry, and it's constant conversation amongst our staff about what the right thing is to do, not only for the player, but for the team, because inevitably you're held responsible by the team. And that's something that we've got to keep, being aware of. It's not just about one player, but we're also aware of the situation that we're in, and that we've got, good young players that are going to be a big, big part of our future. And we're trying to accelerate that, obviously. But we also, we want to win hockey games. There are guys in this league that want to win. We've got players here that, are in different stages of their career. They want to win now. And, so there's so much, those conversations aren't 5-minute conversations. They're long conversations.
Colin was asking Buchnevich and Smith about scoreboard watching at this point in the season. So I'm curious how much you've been eyeing the standings and evaluating what you guys need to do to stay in the playoff race.
Well, it's a lot easier to scoreboard watch when you've only got 7 other teams to follow. So it is, when the nights we don't play, you watch the games that, have an impact on your division. I think everybody's been scoreboard watching from day one, just because of the unique year that we're in. And we know the teams that we have to jump ahead of. So I think that's natural, but I think when we come to the rink this morning, I think it's much more about getting ready to rebound and be ready to play a very good Washington team who's, number one in our division, who we've had great games with. So, I think everybody scoreboard watches the nights we don't play, and after the game, I'm sure we'll do a little scoreboard watching, but I think that's just natural.
In terms of your goals for the team, chasing a playoff spot versus getting these young guys, ice time or lessons or whatever. Do you still have to balance that, or are you still going all out for to make the top 4? And if that's the question, or if that's the case, how do you approach the final 22 games here?
Yeah, well, we think these young players can help us achieve our goals. So, it may not be in the ideal way that people think it can be, where they're going to play 17 minutes a night and always be in power play situations or situations that maybe everybody wants them to be in. But there's other ways that they can help, and it's part of the learning process. So, we think every player we have in our lineup can help us get to where we want to go and achieve our ultimate goal. So, that's kind of how we approach it.
Hey, David, back to Adam Fox. You mentioned his game has gone to another level this year. What is it this year that you're seeing on a more consistent basis from him that you didn't see maybe on a consistent basis as much last year? Or is it just, what is it?
Yeah, I don't think it's I think he was very consistent last year too, Dan, but I just remember at the end of the year when he was on that top power play unit for a little while. I remember having a conversation with him. The way he was approaching it, he kind of felt like he was acting like he didn't belong, or he was deferring to everybody. And this year there's just another level of confidence. He knows he belongs. He certainly has embraced the challenge of being the number one power play defenseman. And I just think there's just another level of confidence. I've always thought he's been a consistent player. There aren't many nights where the game ends and you don't think Adam Fox had a good night. And to me, that's being a great pro. How bad you're bad, and he doesn't have many bad nights. And when he does have a night where he may not be on his A game, he's certainly still an effective player for us.